There. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a fetch request to send data to Google Sheets and also to send a fetch request to retrieve data from a Google Sheet. Now, this is perfect if you need a quick and easy database ready to go. Okay, let's get started. Now, the first thing you need to do is go on to Google and sign into your Google accounts. And I should also mention that there are limitations to this type of database, but I'm not going to go through those limitations. But it's good for testing purposes and for like short-term use. Okay, so I'm on my Google. I'm here on the right-hand side corner. I'm already signed in. If you click on here, you'll see this screen. If you go all the way to the bottom, you'll see Google Sheets right over here. Okay. Again, once you click on it, you'll be brought to something like this here. And this is where I would say make a new spreadsheet. So a blank spreadsheet. I already have one made here called Supply Teacher Notes. So we'll be using that. Okay, so once you have it open, you click it in the top left top here, and then over here, this is where you can like name it to whatever you want. It doesn't really matter what you name it, but you probably name it something appropriate. And right here on the first row here, the first row here, that is when you give titles. I mean the table, the column names, and you should make them simple but specific, like timestamp, students, school, class, notes, so on and so forth. And yeah. Now, once that's done, on the top here, you see all these options. Well, go down to the one that says extension. I'm pointing it to right here. Extension. Click on this and go down to app script. Now, once you click on it, you'll be brought to this page. Again, here on the title, you can click on it. You can change the name of whatever your project is. It doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to change it. I already have it the way I want to. And we'll start pasting some lines of code. So the first thing you need to do is you need the URL of the sheet. So here's the sheets spreadsheet. You want to open by URL, and inside here you want to go back to your sheet and you go to the address bar on top, and you want to copy that address bar, and over here you want to paste it in here. So it gives you what the name of the sheet is. Okay, but you also need a variable for the sheet, the name of the specific page or tab that you're in. So on for mine, mine's a little bit different. If you go, you can't see it, but I called it notes. I can't. Hold on. Okay, if you minimize this window, you'll be able to see. So down over here in the bottom says notes. You can name it anything you want. You can say here rename. You can name it anything you want, but I'm just leaving mine as notes. So name it whatever you need to know it. Name it, and then go back to here, and you want to write the name down, which is notes. I believe I put the yeah notes. That's correct spelling. Oh, let's fix this. There we go. Notes. So now you have the URL to the spreadsheet and the name of the specific tab or the page or the sheet that you're looking at, which is notes. Okay, now let's start with the actual function. The actual function is this. I'm just gonna call the function here. I'm gonna name it doPost. E is the event, basically whatever the event that's incoming data, right? And I'm going to put over here, let data equals e.parameter here. And now to populate the spreadsheet or to put data into the spreadsheet, we're going to use this code right here, sheet append row, and inside here is an array. And here this data part is basically coming from here, this e.parameter here. So it's data.timestamp. And notice I said timestamp, data.student, data.school. It's basically the same thing as this here, and it has to be the exact same spelling. Timestamp, student, school, class, notes here. And you do that, and this should append data onto the sheet. Now, if you want to get data, you'd be pasting this line of code. So, a new variable called sheetData, and then you go to sheet here, get range, and you get the range of what you want. Here I have A2 to E13, and then get values. That will get the data from the sheet. And to send that data back to the user for wherever he's grabbing it, you want to use return context server create text output. You want to use this method and put the data in here. But you see here it says create text output, so it has to be a string right here. So we're going to use the method called JSON stringify. So we're turning it into a string so it's easier for it to digest. So sheet data. And then this basically will send the data back to the person who's making the fetch request. So let's just clean up this code, a little bit of editing magic, and here it is. I have here if data timestamp is like something. If you're actually getting data, because remember data, this is what the data you're being sending. If you have data, if you have some data, that's what this exclamation saying. If it doesn't equal nothing, so if there's some sort of data, then pen the data onto the spreadsheet, and here just returning just a message like the data was successfully, just a confirmation. Else, if timestamp is actually empty, it says here to get data from here to here. So this is the code, and then over here on top right, we're going to go to deploy. When you click on deploy, it says new deployment and management deployment. I have not been able to figure out management deployment because I want to use the same URL, the same link. So I always click on new deploy, but if I ever figure it out, I'll let you guys know. So you click on new deployment, and it opens up. You have a description. You can call it anything you want. You can call it test or anything you want. You have your email app. Because this is by the way, this is a web app, by the way. You want to select the type. The type you want to select is web app. Oops, web app. So that's the type you want to set, the type you want to select, and who has access. I would say anyone, because who knows where you'll be sending this data. You can be sending it from from anyone. So I would say anyone. But so when you click on deploy, it will give you a link. I'm just gonna cancel that. It gives you a link. The link I got here. This is the link that I got. HTTP, and at the end here you see the word exec, and that's how you know that's the correct link. So you're gonna get this link, and I would save it somewhere. This link, and yeah, that's it. Then we're gonna start sending the fetch requests. So in my browser, I'm going to go to my browser. You can go pretty much anywhere, and you can right click on it and go down there. It says inspect, and you get this window, and then you go to, it says elements all the top on top here. Go to console right over here, console. Click on this, and it will give you an empty. You can put JavaScript code, so you can actually do JavaScript code onto your browser, and I believe this is for most browsers. So I have my code saved here. Let me just close this one over here, and this is the code. So here again is that link. When you hit deploy, it'll give you this link, and you have to, this is sort of a must, you have to make a form data. So over here I have new form data, and keep in mind this is all capital, so capital F, capital D for form data, and over here is small case, and you can start appending data onto it, whatever you want. So in this case, I have form data append, and I have here a timestamp because I want to append data onto, if you look at my Google Sheet, I have timestamp area here. So I want to append timestamp, and that's just called test or whatever, test one, say test 1, 2, 3, right? And then you send your fetch request. And again, here, this is the normal fetch request, but over here, you have to put the option, and I typically do method for post method. It tends to be more safer. And in the body, you want to put your form data right here in the body. So you want to do this part. If you look at my Google Sheet, there's nothing here, but if I go here and I click enter, it should populate, test 1, 2, 3. Let me do it again so you guys can see. Let's say over here, let me just close this and put a new code. And let's say test 999. Send that. So Google Sheet test 99. So sending data is basically, that's how you send data to your Google Sheet. Now let's just make up some data here. That, this. Now we're gonna try to get data from the Google Sheet. Okay, let's go back here. Let's clear this code. Let's use a similar code here. As you may recall, if you look at our code here, if you send nothing, like nothing, it will run this code right here. It will send data. So back here, we are not going to send any sort of data. So timesheet will be blank, and we'll use the then method. So it would be dot, and maybe we should use new line for this. So dot then here, and then you want to use a callback function. We use r as a variable. You can use any variable you want, but I'm gonna use r. And over here, I'm gonna say first. I want to show you first. Okay, so basically here we stringified it. If you look over here, the information, it was been stringified, so it has to be unstringified. So this line of code was stringified, turned it into a string. So when you're getting the data, you want unstringified, so you do r dot, r the variable dot JSON. That will unstringify it, and here dot then another callback function, and we're just gonna console log it. So console log, oops, r. And once you hit that, we should get back an array. And if we look at this array, this is our data right here, all that. It corresponds to this data right there. And yeah, so that's that there. Again, if you're confused, back over here, you don't have to put this on a separate line. You can actually do this. You can do it like that. Then, if it's easier, you can do that. So you don't get confused. You can do this if you want, and it'll still work. And I guess we're getting our data. So the same thing. I just did that in a new line. I just want to make that clear. And again, all the code as usual will be posted on the description of this video. And if you like the content, like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Thanks.